to the door. "Please let me in." Poor thing, thought Snow White, having to go door to door selling apples in the rain. And so she opened the door. "Take a look at this big red apple," said the old woman, who, as you know by now, was really the queen in disguise. She held the red apple close to Snow White's face. "Lovely, my dear, isn't it?" "I would very much like to buy your apple," said Snow White, "but I have no money." "That fine comb in your hair will make a good trade," said the old woman. "Well, all right then," said Snow White. She took the comb out of her hair and gave it to the old woman, who then gave her the apple. Snow White took a big bite, and alas, the fruit was poisoned. At once, Snow White fell to the ground in a deep sleep. "Yes," shouted the queen, pumping the air with her fists. Just then, the door flew open. In marched the 7 dwarfs home from work. Shocked indeed, there they were to find Snow White lying on the floor, and what must be her stepmother beside her, laughing. They chased that evil queen out of the door into the storm. Up to the very top of a mountain, they chased her. And all of a sudden, lightning hit the mountain, and the queen fell, and she was never seen again. But there was nothing to help poor Snow White. She stayed absolutely still in her deep sleep. The 7 dwarfs gently lifted her into a glass coffin. Day and night they kept watch over her, and one day the prince happened to pass through. Ever since he had learned that Snow White was missing at the castle, he was searching for her far and wide. Now he had finally found her, but in such a state. The prince pulled open the glass coffin, and her face seemed so fresh, even in that deep sleep. He gently took one of Snow White's hands in his own and kissed it, and at once Snow White's eyes opened. With love's first kiss, the evil queen's spell was forever gone, and now nothing stood in the way for Snow White and the prince to be together forever. They returned to the prince's kingdom and lived happily ever after. And kids, that's the interesting story about Snow White and the 7 dwarfs. I hope you've really enjoyed it, and I'm hoping to see you next week for yet another interesting story. Bye!
Wow, that story was so nice. Well, now we have to go on a short break, but we'll be back before you know it. Bye, kids.
You are watching TV 47, the home of untold stories.
Your health is not just about going to the hospital. Your health is about prevention, it's about what you eat, it's about where you live. For this reason, the Body Garage Show exists.
The part of the brain that deals with communication.
Called primary hypertension, which means that we don't find a reason for that.
Join me, Dr. Chepsi, every Thursday, 8 p.m.
You know what pops in my house more than the rainbow? Walls. You know what I love between me and him? Space. Don't worry, dishes. No one is doing me either. Hey, not much. Just hanging around. Pull yourself together. Enough on the jokes. Let's talk about real estate. Catch the Realtor every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m.